Hello and welcome to Geordie Leather. Now before we get started, I want to say thank you to everybody that entered the January 2021 giveaway competition. We had about 170 entries, which is not bad for our very first competition, but it'd be nice to see a lot more for the February one. So pleased to announce that the winner was Fiona from Portugal. So well done, Fiona. In fact, I noticed this morning you've already spent your gift tokens, so good for you, and we look forward to sending those out for you. So this little video is about sewing machines. I often get asked the question, do I need a sewing machine? And the simple answer is, depends what you're using it for. If you're just doing, making little things for yourself, for your friends and family, then I'd say no. You stick with hand stitching. We both know that stitching by hand is very cathartic, it's very enjoyable, but it does take a lot of time. Now that's the key, time. If you're doing it as a hobby, time's irrelevant. Do it because you love it. But I also have customers, viewers that run small businesses or want to turn their hobby of leathercraft into a money-making opportunity, make a bit of extra spare cash, which is fine. But if you're going to start making things to sell, time becomes a big issue. If it takes you 2 or 3 hours to hand stitch a small wallet and you're selling it for £20–30 on Etsy, for example, you're making less than the minimum wage. So it's not really viable as a business. So therefore you have to increase the production speed, and you do that by using a machine. So what might take you 3 hours to stitch by hand, you can probably stitch in 5 or 10 minutes on a machine. So you can see the difference. So what sort of machine do you need? What's the best one to go for? We'll discuss that now. With leatherwork, you can't really use a domestic sewing machine. I mean, it'll cope with thin things like pig skin, maybe some sheepskin, but anything thicker, it'll say, oh no, I can't cope with that. So domestic machines, apart from the thickness aspect, they're just too fast. You need a machine you can control the speed of to stitch very accurately and very slowly. You can't do that with a domestic sewing machine. So you need an industrial sewing machine. What you ideally need is a walking foot industrial sewing machine. A walking foot, I'll show you on this one. The foot actually walks forward and pulls the material through the machine. So there are two types of machine you need to consider. There's what's called a flatbed machine and what's called a cylinder arm machine. Now, a flatbed machine, you've all seen sort of a flat surface where the needle goes up and down, whereas a cylinder arm, I'll show you mine over here. This is a cylinder arm machine. It's called a cylinder arm because it has an arm which sticks out and it's cylindrical shaped. So this allows you to get into the inside of things like bags, sleeves, round objects, get into tight corners and stitch quite close to edges and things, which you can't really do with a flatbed machine. So I always recommend, if you're on a tight budget, that you go with a cylinder arm machine for one main reason. It's quite easy and affordable to adapt a cylinder arm machine to turn it into a flatbed machine, but you can't do that the other way around. You can't turn a flatbed machine into a cylinder arm machine. So if you buy a cylinder arm, you can make, or you can even buy from the manufacturer sometimes, a little table which comes with, which slots in and turns it into a flatbed machine. I made my own because they're quite simple. I'll show you, it's just down here. So this is just basically a little box. Fairly simple construction, a box with a I put a plastic top on. This is a piece of white acrylic, and I've cut out the shape of the cylinder arm. So this is basically slides on. I'll show you. Like so. So you now have a flatbed sewing machine in addition to your cylinder arm sewing machine. So you're saving the cost of two machines. The only thing to remember when manufacturing this yourself The important thing is that it must be perfectly flush with the base of the existing cylinder arm, so that your fabric doesn't snag on that. So yeah, like I say, when you're buying a machine, don't fall into the trap of buying a brand. This machine, as most other industrial machines, are manufactured in China by one or two manufacturers, and they stick different labels on. So this is a TYSEW brand, which is a UK company, but this is actually also a 𝐆𝐄𝐎 246 machine. There are variations with stickers for Singer, Brother, whatever. So don't make the mistake of paying an extra few £100 for a label, basically, because they're all the same machine, just got a different label on. So there you go. The big advantage with the industrial machine is that it has generally the more modern ones have a servo motor, which allows you to control the speed much better. But I would say avoid the older clutch motor versions, because they're just too fast. So you really need that very slow up and down needle movement. I'll show you on my machine how that works. And if you, in addition to that, also modify it with a speed reducer, which is just basically a pulley which you add to the machine, which reduces the speed down even further, that gives you really slow controlled stitching. If you want to see how the speed reduction system is installed, leave a comment and I'll do a separate video for that. But like I say, go with a cylinder arm machine if you're just starting out. If you want to add a separate flatbed machine later on, that's fine, but you don't need both straight away. So I'm going to be doing a short series of videos using my machine, teaching you from start how to sew leather, how to set up the machine, talk about stitch length, threading the thread through the tension system, threading needles, changing needles, threading bobbins, basically how to use an industrial machine from scratch. So that's something to look forward to. So until then, don't forget to check out Geordie Leather's website. We've got the biggest range of tools, materials and equipment for the leather worker online. So until next time, thanks for watching. Bye bye for now.